By Generation 3, dragons became way more dynamic, so I'm back in the Monotype Multiverse, testing their skill as they solo for gym badges here in Kanto. I want your burger here. Waking up again in Pallet Town, I wonder what Oak has in store for us this time.
That's a good question, Burger. With 4 dragon-type Pokemon to start with, you have some options facing gym leaders.
Thanks, how generous.
Good luck. Oh, and feel free to change your strategy after each loss. But if you want to change teams, items, or moves on the Indigo Plateau, you must forfeit and return to the Pokemon Center there.
Okay, I think I understand, but what do you mean by each loss?
Very funny, Burger. Time to see how daring these dragons are.
Alright, so the rules are pretty simple. Held items only and 1v all versus gym leaders. This horsey is not a dragon yet, but it will be. The roster of dragons, or soon-to-be dragons, is pretty limited, and we've also got level caps, meaning our movesets will be limited as well. There's not much I can do about that at this juncture, but we can give it the good old college try. Dratini is going to resist water, but cannot resist confusion. Without a Persimberry in my pocket, it's hard to say if Dratini is going to be able to do this, even if my opponents are paralyzed. I can hope for a flinch here and wind up with a crit, but Starmie is twice as fast, and it's going to hit quite a bit harder than Staryu did. Even paralyzed, it takes Athena down. Back to the Pokemon Center to heal up and recalibrate. This run through the Monotype Multiverse will be heavily characterized by good RNG and the ability to telegraph my opponent's moves. But Misty is making it abundantly clear that I can't just pray for a flinch. It's starting to look as if no matter what I try, my Dratini is just not going to stand up to Misty's Starmie. So let's head back to the Pokemon Center and swap out for Bagon. That's right, Bagon knows moves like Headbutt and Bite. I'm not counting on a flinch, although it would be great, and Bite is super effective against Misty's Starmie. However, Water Pulse remains a problem. At the very least, Dratini could resist some water-type damage, but Bagon cannot. And to make matters worse, it looks like RNG is working in Misty's favor, not mine. Every time I get hit with Water Pulse, my Pokemon winds up confused. If any of my Dragon-type Pokemon stand a chance earning this Cascade badge, I think we're gonna have to take Staryu out in one clean hit. That means one thing. We need to jump ahead to Vermilion City. There's a berry vendor here, and I can also challenge my rival aboard the SS Anne, increasing my level cap to 24. After defeating my rival, I'll take some time here aboard the SS Anne and challenge some trainers to train my dragons up to that level 24 cap and head on back to Cerulean City. And when I do, I'll have a pack full of berries at my disposal. Until I can access other held items, these berries will be just as useful. I'm gonna give a Persimberry to Dratini, which is now level 24, meaning it knows the move Dragon Rage. That means I can cleanly take this Staryu out, as Dragon Rage deals 40 flat damage. At this rate, we may not even need the Persimberry. My Dratini can now rip through Misty's lineup, earning us the Cascade badge after many attempts. With the second Kanto badge under our belt, it's time to head back to Vermilion City and decide which of our daring dragons will go toe-to-toe with Lieutenant Surge. And in my opinion, there is only one clear option here. It is, once again, Dratini, as it resists electric-type damage. Which, by the way, is great news, because Shockwave will never miss. And Dragon Rage remains viable early game, as 40 HP is a lot up until this point. Dratini is making light work of Lieutenant Surge's lineup. All I have to do is pray that Double Team doesn't end my streak. Lieutenant Surge will land some hits, but it's not gonna be enough. Dragon Rage finishes the job once again, and we claim the Thunder Badge. Time to head towards the Rock Tunnel and train up my dragons to the new cap. And once I reach Celadon City, I'll have access to a number of TMs. These are gonna be very useful now that I can access them. My dragons do learn a variety of moves. Bagon naturally learns some fire-type moves, in fact, which could come in useful against Erica and her gym. But it doesn't learn anything viable until like level 45. So this TM means 20 levels early, Bagon can learn Flamethrower. Time to see if it's enough. But just because we know some super effective moves against Erika's grass-type Pokemon doesn't mean this is gonna be much easier. Her Victory Bell is liable to either poison or paralyze my Daring Dragon, which means that I have a 50-50 chance of equipping the correct berry before starting battle with her. But of course, I can only equip one berry at a time, which means whatever dragon faces Erika's Pokemon needs to be able to sustain itself through the entire battle. Flamethrower is dealing a decent amount of damage and can even inflict the burn status. But Bagon's special attack is not the greatest, which means Erika's Pokemon may still best me. And Vileplume resists a lot more fire damage than I expect. Not only that, chip damage from poison may make this impossible with Bagon, so it's time to switch up my strategy. Swablu is going in, and it has learned the move Ice Beam. Yes, TM13 is another super effective move here in this grass-type gym, but it looks as if Erika is changing her strategy too. Her Victory Bell goes for Stun Spore, turn 1 when I have this Swablu in play. So let's swap out our berries and try again. I chose Swablu this time because once that berry is gone, we can use the move Safeguard to protect ourselves for a few turns, and luckily this Victory Bell is frozen from that first Ice Beam. We almost knock it out, and Erika uses a Hyper Potion. That's very unfortunate for me because Alto doesn't have a lot of resistances here when she's choosing anything but a Grass-type move to take me out. I'm starting to realize that if Swablu is going to pull this off, we have to manage her Victory Bell quickly and effectively. This would-be dragon knows some support moves, but will it be enough without the bulk to handle all 3 of these Grass-type Pokemon? Capped at level 25, Swablu and Bagon are having mucho difficulty in here, and Horsey does not stand a chance. So let's trek backward to the Pokemon Tower in Lavender Town, fight the rival there, and raise our level cap. At level 29, my dragons now have boosted stats and improved movesets. Dratini also learns TM13 Ice Beam and has a slightly higher special attack stat than Swablu. So let's see if we can do any more damage and make our way further into Erika's lineup with enough HP. With a little more bulk than Swablu, Dratini fares pretty well until we're met with Erika's Vileplume. However, without poison resistance, Acid is burning Athena up time and time again. Now, while we may have lost access to the move Safeguard, this Dratini's ability is Shed Skin. That means on occasion it will cure itself from poison or paralysis, and that's going to come in very handy after that very first berry is gone. For this rematch, we're getting pretty lucky as Athena's HP is still in the green, but it is very clear to me at this point that raw damage is simply not enough. That means I have to switch my strategy again. Now we're gonna open up with Thunder Wave. Now Erika is forced to use that full heal, and it buys us 1 extra turn. It's so close, it's not even worth gambling with another Thunder Wave as we dodge that last Stun Spore and finally knock out her Vileplume, claiming that Rainbow Badge. Once we do, our new level cap is 40, which means we can spend a little bit of time training our dragons and evolving them into their secondary forms. Of course, before I can head to Fuchsia City and face Koga, I need to claim the Poke Flute from Mr. Fuji after helping him in the Pokemon Tower. From there, I'm going to head south and check this patch of grass for a new Dragon-type, Vibrava, to add to the roster. The Dragon-type Pokemon available in Kanto in this Monotype mode are limited, so I'll focus on training up the ones that I have before making my way down Cycling Road to Fuchsia City, where I will face off with Koga using Altaria. Because Koga's signature move is Toxic, I think that Altaria is going to be able to manage this gym pretty well. I'm hoping for the best here. By using Safeguard, I'm going to protect myself from poison and boost my stats as much as I can with the move Dragon Dance. But one-shotting Koga's lineup with boosted stats means I'll have to use the move Fly on the correct turn. That's all a matter of chance at this point. Coughing is the most likely to go down with one fly after I boost my stats with Dragon Dance, but as soon as he starts using accuracy, I know it's time to act. Safeguard wears off. Now I'm exposed to toxic damage, and Muck starts spamming Minimize. At level 40, my Altaria did a decent job, but I don't think it has enough firepower to crack through this Muck's defenses, so it's time to switch up strategies. Kingdra equipped with a Pecha Berry, and knowing the moves Double Team and Surf is going to take a shot at Koga's lineup. This Daring Dragon may be susceptible to poison now, but maybe Double Team can help us avoid the status altogether. Well, maybe not, but that just means one thing. We have to go full throttle and hit Koga's lineup with Surf after Surf before poison does the job. I think that means we need to give this choice band to our Kingdra and just focus on taking his Pokemon out as quickly as possible. With a few crits, it looks like victory is within our reach. And by the time we take poison, it's just not enough. Koga's wheezing goes down and we claim the Soul Badge. With Koga out of the way, it's time to head over to Saffron City and face our rival inside of Sylph Company building. There's some storyline here, but what's most important is grabbing this Master Ball. We're gonna need it later. While we're here, we're gonna take our Vibrava for a spin. I equipped it with the black glasses to boost the damage from its move, Crunch. Of course, Dark-type moves are super effective against Sabrina's Psychic-type Pokemon. With moves like Future Sight on the board, I have to be careful here. If I'm not landing crits, I could take a lot of damage all on one turn. And Sabrina's Mr. Mime has just enough defense to stall long enough for that Future Sight to land. I'm not exactly sure if the black glasses are helping all that much. And once Venomoth is on the board, I learn quickly that Vibrava is quite slow. So let's change our item. We're gonna equip the Quick Claw, and maybe we can crack off a hit before this Venomoth can move. That is, if I survive long enough to face it again. But with just a little over 100 hit points, this Vibrava doesn't seem like it can take enough damage to even face Alakazam, so Altaria is getting a second shot at glory here in Saffron City Gym. Altaria is quite a bit faster, and it will hit like a truck after setting up enough Dragon Dances. And since Sabrina's team trades its defenses for special attack, I think one-hit KOs will secure a victory here in Saffron City. And I'm correct about that. We claim the March Badge and forge forward with a new level cap. This means more of our dragons can evolve. With 6 out of 8 badges here in Kanto, I can make my way past a few of the guards here on Route 23. Just far enough, in fact, to reach this small patch of grass where Latios can be found. I'll chuck that Master Ball, add it to the PC, and head all the way south on the Kanto map to Cinnabar Island. Kingdra is going to be our daring dragon in this key battle, and our strategy is much the same as it was in Fuchsia City. We still have the choice band attached, and we're going to use the move Surf to one-hit KO our way through Blaine's lineup. Hand it over, sir. Now there is only one badge in the way of the true test for our daring dragons. And the last badge is the reason why I grabbed that Latios when I did. We've equipped the Twisted Spoon to boost the efficacy of its Psychic-type moves, which will prove to be very useful as there are a lot of poison types here in this ground-type gym. I am super confident that this legendary dragon will make light work of Giovanni's lineup. Even if they're not weak to Psychic, it's doing so much damage he can't manage a shot in. My dragons are making this look like a breeze, but the true challenge lies ahead, facing the Elite Four. Once we claim the Earth Badge, my Pokemon will be capped at level 60. Here in the Monotype Multiverse, Professor Oak makes the rules, and he was pretty clear in the beginning. Once I make my way through Victory Road and onto Indigo Plateau, the team will be locked. Locked in the order they'll face each Elite Four member and the champion. I'll be allowed to reset between battles, but if I want to change anything about my lineup, I must return to the Pokemon Center here on Indigo Plateau and start all over once again. Now with all 7 available dragons, it's time to lock things in and kick down the door into Lorelei's chambers. Latias, our next legendary dragon, is up first. Much like Latios, this Latias is a powerhouse. Equipped with a magnet and boosting its special attack with Calm Mind, Thunderbolt becomes just as deadly as Thunder, and it doesn't have poor accuracy. Unfortunately for me, one stage of Calm Mind is not enough to take this Lapras down with one Thunderbolt. It gets really close, but it leaves us exposed to dangerous Ice-type damage. And with HP nearing critical, this Latias needs to one-shot all of Lorelei's remaining team members, but will it happen? I've also taught this thing Shadow Ball, just to handle this Jinx. Unfortunately, it's still not enough. And one Ice Punch means it's time to reset and try again. This time, we know we need more than one Calm Mind in place to make this work. With 2 stacks of Calm Mind, Thunderbolt starts tearing through Lorelei's Water-type hybrids. But Jinx is quite an unassuming Pokemon. It tanks one powered-up Shadow Ball, and once again becomes a wall for this Latias. I guess that means we need another stack of Calm Mind. We rematch Lorelei and set them all up. We know that Thunderbolt is gonna do its work, but the question is the extra stack worth it? We'll never know. It was a crit. I'm sure it would have been, but once her Cloyster goes down, it's opening the doors into Bruno's chamber. And for Bruno, we're choosing our Kingdra. This daring dragon is holding the leftovers and learned the move Toxic in addition to Double Team and Surf. These moves are going to be critical to success. We know we have the water type advantage here, and the leftovers can help us offset any damage that isn't avoided by high evasive stats. That's because I'm aiming for 6 stacks of Double Team to let Toxic chip damage do what Surf can't finish. Unfortunately, it fails. I head back to the Pokemon Center to review what items I can equip on Kingdra, but as it turns out, I don't wind up making any changes. I considered the choice band, but I don't think it's going to help me much in this situation. And yes, that means I have to challenge Lorelei once again. Now, while the strategy worked the first time, it did take a couple attempts to set Latias up in order to take that Jinx out once again. Instead of editing Kingdra's loadout, I'll edit my strategy, opening with Double Team, accepting the fact that I'll take some early damage and let leftovers do the work. I have to trust that held item. Even with evasion maxed, I need to pepper in attacks because it doesn't always pay off. On the bright side, trusting in those leftovers means that we completely replenish our HP bar. Unfortunately, even with max evasion, Cross Chop is able to take us out not once, but twice. Truly upsetting. But I'm not giving up on Kingdra just yet. After all, wasn't it Claire that taught us that the bond between Dragon-type Pokemon and trainer is sacred? I mean, it's pretty clear to me as to why Dragon-type Pokemon are amongst trainers' favorites, especially as much as they improved through generations 1 and 3, as made evident by our victory against Bruno. Now it's time to face off with Agatha, and Latios is our daring dragon. In the normal type roulette video, Agatha was horrible. They are no match for this dragon. Latios has that type advantage once again, and it is boosted by that Twisted Spoon. Agatha's poison hybrids go down one by one until Gengar shows up. It quickly puts Latios to sleep, but we have a quick turnaround and take it down. One Psychic is all it takes, meaning Haunter stands absolutely no chance. Things are starting to heat up on the plateau. The battle with Lance should be interesting because it's a Dragon Mirror match. I'll pick up TM2 for Dragon Claw inside Victory Road, but my Salamence is going to need much more than that. Dragonite will hit hard with Outrage time and time again, so I scurry back to the Pokemon Center after 10 attempts. Once I'm satisfied, I head back through the doors to face the Elite Four once again. And the strategy stays the same for much of the run. Each dragon stood its ground and proved its dominance. In other words, if it wasn't broken, I wasn't trying to fix it. So you might be wondering, Burger, what did you edit? Well, let's look at it. To face off with Lance this time, I remained steadfast in my choice of Salamence. Most notably, Bilbet dropped Flamethrower for double team. If Outrage is gonna hit hard, we have to avoid it at all costs. But we already know that there are no guarantees, so we're hoping that Paralysis can act as insurance. I think Salamence has the right amount of attack for this battle. But even if I can max out my evasion, would it be enough? Now, some of you might be thinking there may be a better option available, but there are no repeat dragons here on the plateau. If I can beat Lance, I still need one more dragon to go head to head with my rival. And I only have 7 total dragons to choose from. And the most astute of the viewers out there will realize that up until this point, you haven't seen my lineup, have you? Salamence brings it home in a narrow victory, but now it's time to reveal the last daring dragon, Dragonite. Equipped with that focus band, we dive into battle. Now, up until now, we could exploit 1 or 2 weaknesses, but now we need true diversity. Athena earned us 2 badges early on, and I'm thinking that we can secure another victory if we play our cards right here. With the right moveset, this Dragonite could bring it on home to the Hall of Fame. Athena couldn't just be daring. Athena needed to be dynamic. My rivals Pidgeot and Gyarados are intense openers. Evasion buffs aren't paying off, and I get phased out of battle. I'll address that later, but for now, I'm taking it as a sign to fly back to Celadon City and rethink my strategy. I edit Dragonite's moveset and give a focus band to Salamence, and then it's back through the Elite Four once again. How many times did you do it, Burger? Well, this time we manage our way through Lorelei by setting up 4 Calm Minds. We recover for insurance, but enough Calm Minds means we have enough firepower to handle the rest of the lineup easy breezy. In fact, 4 Calm Minds might have been excessive, but I just wanted to be sure for this jinx. And astonishingly, it somehow survives. It absolutely blows my mind. It just goes to show that you never know what to expect in the Monotype Multiverse. Miraculously, we survive yet another hijinks. Cloyster is no problem here, and it's time to head into Bruno's chamber. And the daring Kingdra is locked into the slot for this battle. Spike is only going for 5 double teams this round. He should have enough evasiveness and special to manage this lineup. Surf is reliable in this battle. That's why I stuck with Kingdra. Bruno's team can still land a few hits here and there, but the leftovers are slowly and quietly doing their work. Meanwhile, I'll reserve Toxic for this Machamp. As long as we can avoid that cross chop, I think Bruno's last Onix stands no chance. With victory in sight, I'm wondering if Bruno's gonna use a full restore, but the poison damage ticks before he gets a chance. Kingdra once again proves its worthiness for a spot in the Hall of Fame, and I think it's much deserved. Of course, that means it's up to Latios to once again single-handedly deal with Agatha and her deadly team of poison hybrids. Certainly nothing could go wrong, Burger. Well, if you said that, I would say don't be so certain. If you didn't learn anything from Jinx, you're not gonna learn anything at all. Agatha's second Gengar is super fast. Gengar manages to hit with Hypnosis and puts Latios into a deep nightmare, punishes it with a Shadow Ball, and in the nick of time, we wake up. I'm telling you folks, anything could go wrong. By now, we've run through these halls many times, but did we learn any lessons? My Salamence Bilbet dropped the Dragon Claw for the Focus Band, because last time, it was a little bit too close. Lance's Aerodactyl nearly ended us with Ancient Power. I think we were left with something like 16 HP. I don't know, it was critical. It was definitely beeping. However, I kept Bill Bett's moveset the same. Not even the Focus Band will work every time, but if I need that time to be any time, it's this time. Dragon Claw shreds Dragonairs, but not Dragonites. But incredibly, the Focus Band does its job. Outrage only hits for 48 damage. This Dragonite is sturdy, but we dodge its last attempt at taking us down. That means 1 crit, and Lance is defeated once again. 1 HP. Incredible. But I'm about to show you just how many times we've run through these halls. Let's take a peek, because it's all the footage you don't see that proves just how crazy RNG is in the Monotype Multiverse. We challenged Lance a total of 22 times. Yes, 22 times. So between resets and forfeits, I want you to guess in the comments now. Pause the video, go down there and tell me, how many times do you think I faced each of the Elite Four? I'm curious to see what you think. While you're at it, you should subscribe, especially if you like what you're seeing. By the way, I do want to say thanks to all the new viewers and subs. Thanks so much. Let's get back into it. So have you noticed anything different about this Dragonite? That's right, we taught it TM25 Thunder. It's not that accurate, but Ice Beam is. However, the unseen horror here is Whirlwind. If it blows Athena out of battle, I'll be forced to use the Poke-Flute on every turn until the Pokemon swapped in faints. Only then can Dragonite re-enter the arena. And that means any stacked evasion stats will be lost. That could be bad news for me, because at this point, it's looking like a rematch is in order. But before we get to that, I hope your guesses are locked in. Let's take a peek and see how many times we faced off with the Elite Four. Lorelei and Bruno clocked 9 attempts each. Meanwhile, Agatha was the easiest at 3 attempts, and Lance took 22 attempts. So needless to say, by now I am so determined to enter these solo dragons into the Hall of Fame. But we're gonna have to play risky here. Unfortunately, Thunder will not one-hit this Pidgeot, so I take another opportunity to boost my evasion. Ironically, that first Ice Beam misses. Aerial Ace hits. It lands through that heightened evasion. And suddenly, Dragonite doesn't seem all that bulky. When it's 1 versus 6, Double Team feels like my only option. Avoid damage, hit hard. Seems pretty simple. And so far, I gotta say, it's working pretty well, although the HP bar is a little bit concerning to me right now. Especially since I can't remember what held item we gave Athena. Was it the Focus Band or something else? I sure hope it was the Focus Band. But at any rate, Arcanine comes out and starts spamming Roar. This is terrifying. Dragonite is not allowed support. So that means I have to play the Poke-Flute until Wake or Latias faints. It's all in the name of fairness here. These are daring dragons after all. Sadly, this means that Athena's evasiveness has returned to normal, and this could mean doom. Extreme Speed drops Athena into the red. We do all that we can to recover evasiveness and gamble with Thunders. Did I equip the Focus Band or not? As another Lucky Thunder hits, I feel myself start to hold my breath. The rival's ace was out, and it freezes. It's quickly recovered, but I gain a turn, and it freezes again. A full restored comes out, and Ice Beam hits, and in the turn Venusaur charges for Solar Beam. It goes down. Finally, my rival has been defeated after 22 attempts. These dragons truly deserve a spot in the Hall of Fame for this run through the Monotype Multiverse. I Want Your Burger. Thanks so much. Peace.